Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Please rise for the presentation of the colors.
Good morning, everyone. You may be seated. I would like to welcome IWP's class of 2024, as well as parents, family members, and friends. We are also so grateful to the faculty, staff, trustees, and supporters of IWP, as well as our special guests who are joining us today, including our honoree, Mr. Benjamin Hall, and Bernadette Smith. My name is Ann Bradley, and I am a professor of economics at IWP. It is my pleasure to be here today in this special moment where we celebrate the culmination of intellectual achievement and perseverance, and look with hope and great expectation as we celebrate our nation's future leaders who sit before us today. I would now like to welcome Yvonne Esparza, IWP class of 2020, who will lead us in the national anthem. If you can, please rise.
Oh, say, can you see the dawn's early light, when so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight filled the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Ivan. While you're still standing, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would now like to introduce Chris Glass, our Executive Vice President, who will lead us in the morning's invocation. You may be seated.
Thank you, Ann, and good morning. The mission of the Institute of World Politics is based on several propositions which form the foundation of the Institute's curriculum and are to be taught as part of its core courses in American founding principles, Western moral philosophy, international relations, and modern political diplomatic policy. Our founder and chancellor, Dr. Lenczowski, over 34 years ago, prudently conveyed and dedicated the cornerstone on which our founding propositions and charter stand. Sustained by our trustees, our academic dean, faculty, and leadership staff. The Western Greco-Roman Judeo-Christian civilization and its American branch are rare in human history and are worth defending. That Judaism gave Western civilization and the world a culture of self-examination, self-criticism, atonement for past sins, and self-improvement, and the commandment to love one's neighbor as much as one's self. That Christianity cemented within our culture a realistic understanding of human nature, namely that man is a fallen creature possessed of the ability to choose good or evil. Recognizing the free will that enables these choices, Christianity has infused Western culture with the ethic of individual responsibility while encouraging generous impulses, including mercy and forgiveness. Thus, the Judeo-Christian civilization has given the world its concept of the dignity of the human person, no matter what their background or their condition. A dignity based on the notion that human beings are created in the image and likeness of God and possesses rights and responsibilities that accord with that dignity. The concept of human rights, rights that man possesses by his very nature, rights which, according to American founders, are endowed by the Creator and not by the state. So, to understand who we are as a graduate school, one only need look on page 1 of those founding propositions. It is why we will always reaffirm humbly and with a thankful heart and mind our dependence on the Creator, a holy and loving God, first and foremost in everything we do as a school. Let us depart the secular for a moment and enter into the sacred together in prayer for our graduates. Let us pray. God of Israel, most gracious Lord, Creator of all and author of freedom, handed down through your providential corridors of time, the baton of leadership and preservation of that gift is now passed to the class of 2024. The mark of achievement is now tallied by their professors. A great milestone is now upon them as a result of hard work and the gifts that you've given to each one. We now ask for your sovereign hand to guide them all the days of their life, that each individual, this class, this generation would from this day forward be an example to a hurting and dying world for the perseverance and love of liberty and freedom. That as a result of what they've learned here, they would cherish and defend the American Republic they have inherited. That they would build and dream heroic dreams, perpetuating that heritage. Now, Father, bestow your Holy Spirit on these proceedings. Bless this sovereign moment and our most honored speaker, the families and loved ones that made it happen, and guide our fellowship together. In your most holy name, I pray, Solo Deo Gloria. Amen and amen. It's now my privilege to welcome my dear colleague, our president, Dr. and Ambassador Aldona.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be so serious. Well, let me begin by thanking our generous supporters who have made this school possible. We could not have done it without you. And as you will see when we introduce our graduates, that your investment in this class has truly been worthwhile. Thank you to our faculty. Your willingness to share professional experience, often teaching at night, giving individual feedback to our students, and mentoring in your spare time has made an immeasurable impact on these graduates. They will carry your wisdom with them throughout their entire lives, and your influence on the future of our country will be significant. We are also grateful to our dedicated staff, our trustees, and our alumni. Graduates, you are here today because of the hard work and dedication to your studies. You certainly did not choose IWP because it was an easy school. your countless hours in the classroom, reading, studying, researching, and then, again, reading, and reading more, have led to your academic achievements that we celebrate today. You have received a unique education here at IWP. One that not only will help you to become an expert in your field, whether it is in the area of international affairs, national security, or intelligence, but an education that will guide you in why this profession. Why are you dedicating your life to service? Why will you be working to defend America? Why you may choose to represent America abroad, or work for the advancement of decent civilization around the world. You have examined these questions in your classes on Western moral tradition and American founding principles. There is something valuable about the human person and something sacred about our fundamental human rights. And it is worth fighting for. There is something deeply worthwhile about America represents what it represents and what it aspires to be. A place of freedom, of opportunity, where all people can pursue their dreams in peace without fear of persecution or repression. History has shown us, and in some cases it has borne out by my own personal experience, what life is without freedom. My own family suffered under Nazism and communism. My grandparents and my parents struggled for liberty in German and Russian occupied Poland during the Second World War. A devout Catholic, my father enlisted in the Polish army and later served in the Polish underground, Armia Krajowa, where he, risking his life, rescued Jews from certain death in the Warsaw Ghetto. He saw combat in 1939 and again in 1944. He supplied guerrilla units in between that. And later, he survived Flossenburg concentration camp, prisoner number 23,504. And he was liberated by General Patton's United States Third Army. I was born in Poland under imposed communist rule. When we moved to America, our family's enduring memories helped me appreciate more the freedom that I have now. But the threat of these oppressive regimes and violent extremism remains in the world today. There is a serious ongoing struggle to protect our country from a variety of threats, as well as the destructive ideologies that underpin them, including communism, fascism, and radical Islamism. Today, we are facing a belligerent Russia, a communist China that rattles its saber in the South China Sea while oppressing its own people. We have radical groups in the Middle East and a crisis at our own border. This struggle requires serious professionals who know their craft and who understand where their work fits within the larger strategic picture. This is why you, graduates, have been exposed to all the different arts of statecraft during your studies with us, as well as their integration. For our guests who are not familiar with what the arts of statecraft are, they are the art of war, peacemaking, and diplomacy, public diplomacy, strategic influence, political action, economic strategy, intelligence, counterintelligence, cyber strategy, the exercise also of intangible instruments of power, such as moral leadership and national character, willpower, and courage. We hope that this strategic use of these arts can allow us to win without going to war. Graduates, your mission is to help ensure the survival of the United States as a free, prosperous, and the most charitable and innovative country in history. Because if the American experiment fails, freedom fails. Today, we celebrate not only your academic achievements, but also your noble mission to serve a cause that is greater than yourself. Because we recognize our graduates, and before we recognize you, I would like to welcome IWP Chancellor Dr. John Lenczowski to honor a very special individual. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Aldona. Today, we are honoring the late chairman of our Board of Trustees, Owen Smith, who passed away a little over a year ago and whose legacy we are determined to preserve. Owen served as our chairman for about 15 years, beginning in 2004, and continued on the board and its executive committee until the end of his life. He oversaw the school through many of our critical milestones, including our initial accreditation, the purchase of our campus buildings, the launch of our doctoral program, the development of our charter, and the construction of our 5-year strategic plans, among other things. Owen brought to IWP his extraordinary multifaceted experience as an attorney, an entrepreneur who ran and owned the largest restaurant in New York State, a senior official for both the New York State and Nassau County governments, a university professor and department chairman, a philanthropist, a political campaign official, and a business associate, counselor, and later son-in-law of the legendary director of Central Intelligence, William J. Casey, whose extraordinary personal library Owen and his wife Bernadette donated to IWP. The school owes Owen a tremendous debt of gratitude for his myriad contributions to our growth and welfare. But on top of that, there's a special reason why we honor him posthumously today. Owen was a model of strength of character and servant leadership, of service to a cause higher than himself. He was never involved with us for reasons of business, political power, or social prestige. He wanted to serve the nation and the cause of peace, security, and freedom, and he believed that his investment of time and effort in IWP was one of the best ways of serving those causes. We hope that our students and our graduates will emulate his example, an example that will raise the standard of moral leadership for this nation. We are honored and grateful that Owen's wife, Bernadette Casey Smith, is with us today to accept his honorary degree, a Doctorate of Laws, honoris causa. Bernadette has been a steadfast supporter of IWP for many years, and we treasure her friendship and dedication to our cause. Bernadette.
Thank you. Thank you, John. First of all, where are you, John?
I'm right back.
I want to thank you, Dr. John L., as we call you at home. With John's steel determination and God's help, he created IWP and then made it successful. And you did that magnificently, John. Now to my beloved husband, Owen, has been involved with IWP almost from the beginning. He championed John's causes and did everything he could to help John in his endeavors to further the success of IWP. From helping with the accreditation process to chairing the board of directors. Even when he was truly ill, he would dial up the board meeting and listen attentively to the very end. Owen and I are so honored to be associated with IWP. We were amazed at the scope of studies offered, the caliber of students, and they're all working together to help keep our country safe. And for that, we are truly thankful. Thank you.
Thank you, John and Bernadette. I am now pleased to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Benjamin Hall, a decorated international correspondent and a war correspondent based in London. And equally important is the fact that, like my children, he studied at Duke. Go Duke. In March of 2022, Benjamin survived a deadly attack while he was covering the war in the Ukraine. 2 of his colleagues were killed in front of him. The brave and talented longtime war photojournalist Pierre Zakrzewski and the young, patriotic Ukrainian journalist Alexandra Sasha Kuvishinova also perished. Benjamin sustained life-threatening injuries and miraculously, with the help of many, was able to survive and come back home. Because his story is so dramatic and inspiring, we encourage you to read his most recent book, Saved, A War Reporter's Mission to Make It Home, which details his ground-level view of the war in Ukraine and the heroic actions that led to his rescue and arduous recovery. Thanks to the generosity of the Fund for American Studies, copies of this book will be gifted to our graduating class. And dear graduates, you will pick this book up, Nothing in Life is for Free, when you return your regalia. So Benjamin Hall has truly had an incredible career. He has covered numerous breaking news stories for Fox, from the front line in Syria and Iraq in the battles against ISIS, to the wars in Afghanistan and Gaza. He covered President Biden's first overseas trip to Europe. He reported on President Trump's first overseas trip to Saudi Arabia and was in Singapore for the 2019 summit. That summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's meeting. He has covered elections in numerous countries. He has interviewed presidents, prime ministers, foreign ministers, US commanders, ISIS prisoners, and survivors of the genocide against the Uyghurs in China. His professional achievements are numerous, and you can read more about it, of course, in his remarkable work in our program. But more importantly, what I would like to highlight for you, graduates, is Benjamin's character. A citizen of the United States and the United Kingdom, he is a patriot who loves freedom. As you know and have heard and will continue to hear, our past shapes who we are. Benjamin's family story is very similar to mine, but it unfolded on the other side of the world. His father suffered under the Japanese occupation of the Philippines. At the age of 12, he witnessed the Battle of Manila, in which General MacArthur and over 35,000 United States soldiers fought for the liberation of the city. His father, mother, grandmother, aunt, and uncles became the victims of Japanese atrocities. And Benjamin's father had to make a run through the battle to safety with the American soldiers. His father always remained grateful to the United States military and later joined the US Army himself. Benjamin grew up hearing these stories. Freedom isn't free, and the truth cannot always be told without sacrifice. Benjamin has risked his life many, many, many times to tell the stories of people in war-torn areas, bringing the unthinkable realities to us. He has given up his legs, his eye, his hand. For what? You ask why? For the pursuit of truth. Graduates, I hope you will be inspired by Benjamin Hall, by his dedication to his profession, his ability to develop relationships of trust, his focus on his family, and his commitment to a cause that is greater than himself. Benjamin, we are so proud that you have joined us today to speak to our graduates. So please, at this time, welcome Benjamin Hall.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Today is about you. It's not about me, it's about you. You're the ones who have gone through so much. You're the ones who are here today. You're the ones who have achieved so many great things. You're the ones who have so much ahead of you. I want to thank, first of all, the ambassador. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure, a real pleasure to speak to you today, and I'm honored to do so. I'm grateful that I was asked to speak today. I'm grateful that I'm being trusted to speak today at a moment that is so key to each one of you. And it is key in your life because this is the part of your life where one chapter ends and it is the beginning of a next. It is the beginning of a chapter where you get new freedoms, new responsibilities, new rewards. And there may also be great difficulties ahead. But you must meet both of them in exactly the same way. You are entering a chapter of your life where you get to go and try to change the world, particularly in the fields that you guys have chosen. And you get to go and seek to make it better. You seek to go and make an impact on the world, and there is nothing greater in life than being able to do that. It is a wonderful, wonderful place to be, but that will only happen if you put in the hard work, because none of this comes free, and you know that from the work you've put in so far. That work has to continue, and enjoy it while it comes. I was introduced so well right there that I will skip over my own introduction, but I will talk a little bit about what happened to me in Ukraine. But first of all, when I was preparing for today, I was trying to think what it is that I would say. What message did I want to convey? And I thought back to the speech I was given when I graduated. And first of all, I thought I better not bore you. So that will be my attempt. But secondly, I realized it's not about trying to tell you what to do now you've graduated. You can figure that out. You're incredibly intelligent. You've graduated from a remarkable school. It is instead perhaps a chance to remind you why you should do it and who you should do it for. Because it's not just for you individually. It's for you as a whole. It's for your country. It's for your community. That's what we must live for. That's what we must strive for. I also wish someone had told me as I was getting ready to embark what a great ride I was heading into. How these are your years of adventure. Try new things, experience as much as you can, meet, travel as much as you can, go and explore the world, enjoy every single second of it and don't waste it. Don't let fear stop you, and you will find a way through. It is only by understanding other people that you can seek to make our own country better, so learn and meet. And it's okay to be driven in life. It's okay to want to be the first one to get that story, the first one to get that interview, to sign a deal. I say that's all right. Go and compete. Be brave about it, because you must make the first moves if you want anything to happen. but compete without greed. Do so with honesty. And don't get so carried away with your work that it takes over. There is more to life, remember, than just your job. You are building a rounded, multi-dimensional life. That's what makes it so amazing. You're at IWP. It's a remarkable school. And that means that to a certain degree, you've already taken the first step. You've found your passion. You know what interests you, and you've picked a path, and that's a path that has great, great significance, will have great impact. And like you, I was the same. I wanted to cover the world, geopolitics, governments, military, conflict resolution. I wanted to see it and breathe it and live it. Now, I chose to go and become a journalist. And by the way, I apologize in advance for how often we will probably bother you. It is a great dance between journalists and the government all the time, but it is one that is essential. So, my career, as the ambassador was saying, took me to many war zones, and each one was very different. But each one, in many ways, was very similar. And I say similar because other than fear and suffering and tragedy, they were similar because they were all full of bravery, courage, resilience, honor, compassion, generosity. It's not often spoken about, but it's one of the things that surprised me most, that even in war, even in the toughest times, there is more good than there is bad. And that's what you have to focus on. That what you do adds to the good. That what you go out and do, even in the harshest environment, seeks to hold back the bad, and that you live and work in a way that makes us better, makes community better. And in doing so, you add to education, you'll add to freedom, you'll add to fairness, you will protect those who need it. And always make sure you talk to people you agree with and talk to people you disagree with. It is a sad moment right now, I feel, where so many people are so enveloped in their own ideas that they refuse to talk or discuss or debate with those on the other side. Never, ever forget to do that. And look, you're a long way off this, but what you do in your lives, in government, protecting our country, will leave something behind for the next generation, something that is lasting. And you are in the best place to do that. You head into a world that you chose, and so embrace it. Be proud of the position you are in, but again, be humble. Now look, this new chapter of life, it's not easy. I've said there are ups, there are downs. And boy, were there moments in my life where I wondered if I'd made the right decision. Middle of the night, lying on the Syrian border in a small ditch, Syrian Assad troops 20 feet away, holding torches, looking for us, holding my breath, trying not to move. Then crossing a strong river up to our necks in water, pitch black, body armor held high over our heads, again alongside a group of hardened rebel fighters who at the time were wearing nothing but red underpants and carrying AK-47s. And boy, did the question come up, should we be here? Was this the right decision to make? But look, we got through. We went behind enemy lines. We lived in the caves with the rebels, and we told a remarkable story about people standing up in the face of oppression. We recorded Syrian troops for the first time opening fire onto women and children. And that, for me, made it worth it. I remember bartering my sunglasses once to get onto an illegal weapons shipment into Libya, into Misrata, again, with some dubious rebels. And that was on the day that Tim Hetherington and Chris Hondros, two journalists, they died that day in the city that we were going to. But still, we decided that we had to go. And that is because you do difficult things, because you have to hope something good will come out of it. That if more people know, someone might help. Perhaps more than anything, it is about the truth. It's about learning more. We should never give up trying to improve, trying to help, trying to let people know what's going on. Many of the careers you're going into will do just that. And that's what we were doing in Ukraine in March 2022. It was our small team with Fox, and we were just outside Kyiv. We were in a small town called Horenka, totally abandoned, totally bombed to the ground, and we had filmed. We'd done a great day recording, and I remember thinking, this is great. We're going to show the people the atrocities, the damage that has been carried out by the Russians. And as we were driving our way back towards Kyiv, we slowed down at an abandoned checkpoint, and that first missile came out of the air, and it's a sound I know all too well. It's a missile, it's a whistle. And it landed about 30 feet in front of us. A quick attempt to turn this car around, but the car stalled, and a few seconds later, the second one landed right alongside the car. Blacked me out. big shrapnel in my neck and in my eye. And I was there in that darkness, and I saw my daughter right in front of me, right there. She just said to me, "Daddy, you've got to get out of the car. You've got to get out of the car." And I came back, and I reached for the door of the car. Pierre Cameron had already gotten out, and I grabbed for it, and I took one step out of the car, and then the third bomb hit the car itself. And that threw me away, and I passed out, and I woke up on fire. Leg was gone, my foot was gone, bleeding all over. And so began a 40-minute wait with no cell phone reception to try and figure out how to survive, how to get home. And I thought of one thing. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, you will find a way through, you will get home, you will do whatever it takes. I talked to Pierre for a while, and he passed away alongside me. Great brother of mine, great friend of mine. The other three, there was Sasha and there were 2 Ukrainians as well driving. They died in the car. But then began this incredible evacuation. And what I say is that one bad thing happened to me, but thousands of good things happened after that. So many people came to help me. And there's one great group called Save Our Allies, and a group of veterans, Medal of Honor winner, Bronze Star winner. They were across the border in Poland, and they set out to find me. Americans trying to find another American who was injured. And they did. They drove day and night right through towards the Russian lines. They found me in a little hospital. And then thanks to the intelligence community, we found out that the Polish Prime Minister was on the first visit to see Zelensky. And if we could break through the lines together, if I could stay alive, the Polish Prime Minister would escort us. And we did that. We went checkpoint to checkpoint, opening up my wounds, no painkillers, in and out. And we finally, with minutes to spare, made it to this train, and we got on that train, and we had 10 hours of ride out. That was a life-changing moment where I had to think about what is it inside us that keeps us going? What do we live for? And at the other end, I knew that American troops were waiting. Pentagon had told us that they can't come in to get me, but if I could make it to Poland, they would take me and take care of me. And there it was, another generation. American troops around the world saving someone who was in trouble. It happened to my father, and he talked about running towards American troops and being lifted up. And there was that moment where I was taken off the train, there was a Black Hawk waiting, and the aircrew came towards me and they grabbed me, and I had this incredible sense that for a second generation, I was being saved by American troops. And I will forever be trying to pay that back. The community came to save me, and you guys are going to be part of that community. And I stand here as someone who was saved by that community. So bear that in mind. You make a real difference, and you will. But I think more than anything, what I've learned most, there is a way through everything. It doesn't matter how bad it may seem, you can beat it. And if there is no clear way out, if there's no easy solution, don't stop trying. Find a way through. And I'm a firm believer now that there is also more strength inside all of us than we know about. I learned that in Ukraine. I learned that on that train ride, that you have the ability to stop, take a breath, calm yourself down in the face of fear, and tell yourself you'll be okay and you can get through it, and you will. And don't delay. Don't put anything off. I spent 7 months in the Brooke Army Medical Center in Texas, being treated by military medicine, and I spent every day trying to get better. And if I walked 3 steps on one day on my new legs, I would walk 4 the next. And I did that for me, I did it for my family, but I did it for those who were reaching out. Those are the people who were willing me on, because I knew they were putting their time, their effort into helping me, and I certainly wasn't going to let them down. When I needed it, again, the community came to support me. I'm wary of speaking of anything that's going on around the world right now, but look, many of you will be faced with very difficult decisions in your careers, and you will be asked to help and find a way through, try to find a solution to impossible circumstances, sometimes when both sides are part at fault, and perhaps both sides are at times right. You will have to decide, how do you judge that? Who do you help? But for me as a journalist, I got to write down both sides of the story. It seemed much easier for me. That's what I get to do. But for you, it will be harder. In government, geopolitics, it's a lot harder. So I would say, remember one thing, as I try to do. Above all, remember that you are there to best serve the people you represent, the people you care about, the people you want to protect. That's what you've got to do. You keep them safe. Now, for me, it was my readers that I represented at work. But for you, that's your neighbors, your citizens, your family members. They're the people you're going to represent. That's the path you've chosen. That's why it's so important. One other thing I wish I'd learned earlier is that not everything happens quickly. That's rarely the case. You must build, you must focus on doing the right things, the best things. You must make contacts, be kind to people, find your community. And don't just think of where you're going. It's not the end goal that counts. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the moment itself. Don't forget that. And I remember in the hardest days in hospital, I would always make a point of thinking about the beautiful things in life. A ray of sunlight, a great piece of music, of my wife. Because giving yourself something positive on those bad days, that lifts you up. Find what that is. Find what lifts you up. And don't fear loss. I stand here, but never once have I thought, I lost a leg, I've got no feet, I see out of one eye. No, I think I've got one leg. I've got one eye. I'm with my family. That's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I don't think about the loss. I think about what I've still got. So put fear to the side. Think about it, yes. Realize where it is, then don't let it drive you. Understand why you're doing something, and once that decision has been made, go do it. Look fear right in the eye and don't shy away from it. In November, I went back to Ukraine, and I took that same train in that I took out, and I lay in the same place that I laid on the way when I was being evacuated. Why? Because I wanted to show that we might get knocked down, but we will get back up. That the Russians may have tried to stop freedom of speech, they might have tried to stop the truth, but we will keep coming. And that no matter where the bad guys are, we will keep trying to stop them. And I am insistent on that. I will work harder than I used to work because I believe that message is so important. You can't stop us. We're on the right side. You will be on the right side as you set out into your careers. So look at what lies ahead. Look at why you're doing it. Love every bit of it. Go and inspire, go and live, go and enjoy the world. Congratulations, you've done so well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hall, for sharing your remarkable story and your fight for freedom. It is now time to recognize the valedictorian and salutatorian of the class of 2024, students who are graduating with the highest of honors. The valedictorian is Margaret Reimer. Maggie could not be with us today because she has started her 2.5-year service in the Peace Corps, serving Belizean communities and helping develop youth sports in the country. But let's give her a round of applause. The salutatorian is Taylor Robert Weinsz, who will give remarks on behalf of the class of 2024. Congratulations, Taylor.
Dr. Bradley, thank you. Mr. Hall, thank you for a fantastic speech. Faculty, families, trustees, friends, supporters, and most importantly, my peers, thank you for giving me the opportunity to play a small role in helping us all reflect on the class of 2024's accomplishments and to celebrate the Institute of World Politics. And before I begin, I'd also like to express my own heartfelt congratulations to Margaret Reimer as well. She is absolutely a true testament to the type of individual that the Institute of World Politics attracts, and we wish her all of the best, and we are so proud of her. Now, this class of graduates, as we all know, has studied at the Institute during a tumultuous time in America and in the world. We're living in a period where there is no shortage of reasons to question what the future might hold for our great nation. We are departing from the Institute when America and the world face an undeniable crossroads. It is a crossroads that demands we all rise to the great challenges of our time and take the responsibility to preserve what makes America unique and beautiful. And of course, those that will always reside comfortably outside of the arena of leadership and service will wrongly conflate this crossroads that we face with evidence that America may no longer be a guidepost of moral clarity, good and just government, and principled leadership in the world. Now, on the contrary, every day that I have spent at the Institute of World Politics has given me the utmost confidence in America's future. These graduates are the true embodiment of what it means to be good Americans. They are steadfastly committed to a better tomorrow for our nation and for the entire world. They are clear-eyed about what our country expects of all of them. The Institute has given us the skills and the perspectives necessary to act as informed patriots and moral leaders who will always be dedicated to the pursuit of truth, the ethical use of America's awesome power, and the development of personal and civic virtue. These realities that we face are certainly complex, but we are prepared to address all of them, informed by our love for this nation and all that we have gained from our time as students at the Institute. And regardless of whatever is ahead, we all share a common appreciation for what makes America exceptional. Because of this, the Institute of World Politics and this class of 2024 are both at the core of the bright future of America that I know we all believe in. So, my hope is that today's celebration instills within you all the same degree of confidence that my peers in the Institute have instilled within me. We all see the distinct value of America and are all committed to a cause that is much higher than ourselves. The duty of service to this nation is a perpetual task, and we are proud and prepared to now play our own role in securing the blessings of America for future generations. The Institute has equipped the class of 2024 to confidently address any trial or threat, foreign or domestic, and no matter how extraordinary. And in turn, that means that there is no challenge too great for America, so long as leaders, like all of these here today, will continue to answer the call to service. This group we are celebrating here today should be indisputable evidence that anyone who discounts the future of our great nation grossly underestimates the caliber of patriots and leaders educated at the Institute of World Politics. This class and the Institute alike will continue to be steadying factors for America at a time when they have absolutely never been more vital. These are great leaders and great Americans, and through prudence and principle, they will excel in whatever role they play in serving our nation. I am deeply inspired by the class of 2024 and by the entire Institute of World Politics. It has been a privilege to learn alongside this group and from all of those that make the Institute an unparalleled place of scholarship, service, and patriotism. So I want today to give everyone solace and certitude about what tomorrow will hold for this great country. So thank you, God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I am now very pleased to introduce a special performance for our graduates by the U.S. Army Brass Quintet.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are really honored to be here today. We have joined you all several times over the years, and it really always is a great pleasure for us to be here and support you in your graduation. On behalf of all of us, we just want to say congratulations to all the graduates. So congratulations to you. I'm sure you've either heard that last piece or know it very well. If neither of the two, that was John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever, one of the most famous American marches ever composed. We're going to close with one more piece for you, and halfway through, Greg over here is going to make an announcement and let you know, but there's a chance for a sing-along. So we want to hear you. Thank you again. It really is an honor to be here. Congratulations, and here's God Bless America.
Thank you so much. Let's give him one more round of applause. The audience may sit down. The graduates need to stand. One more job for you to do. I would like to ask the graduates to now turn and face the audience and to say that it is with great pride and joy that we present to you the class of 2024. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much. This concludes our ceremony for today. You may now join us for a reception in the colonnade room in the courtyard upstairs. We ask that you remain seated until the recession is complete. Congratulations and Godspeed to each of you.